Let me say that again. You are of your father, the devil, until you are born again. Born in sin, shaped in iniquity, it is natural for you to go against God. God places a measure of faith in you or a seed in you so that you can respond to the Holy Spirit. But by nature, we will drift further and further and further away from God. Nobody told Adam that he had to hide. God wasn't mad at Adam. God wasn't angry when he came walking in the cool of the day. God simply said, Adam, where are you? The voice was the same. The tone was the same. The manner was the same. And Adam and Eve, they're hiding. Why? Because now that they've sinned, they're against God. And not only they're against God, but they want God to die. And this is why God has to get sin out of us and get us to love him. Or if he took us to heaven the way we are, we would want God to die. Wait a minute. Why? At what juncture would you want him to die? When you didn't get to do what you wanted to do. When God asks you to do something that you don't want to do, and all of a sudden you feel like you're being pushed to do what you don't want to do, what spirit rises in you? That's natural. That's the way unconverted people are supposed to act. I'm not surprised when people act a certain way. Unconverted people follow and act like the devil. My job is to do everything I can to allow my character to be shaped and molded so I can represent Christ to them. Why? Because I may be the only Jesus they may ever see. Now, here's the part where it gets real interesting. There comes a point where the Holy Spirit is not authorized to continue to work with you. There comes a point where we talked about that boundary line, where you go so far and the angel that has been assigned to your life goes to heaven, presents his golden card, the gates are open for him to get in, he hands off the message to a superior angel, another angel takes it in, hands it to Christ, and there's no argument. Christ's heart doesn't even have time to break because he has to continue to navigate for the rest of those that might find hope. And the voice simply says, too late. There's nothing else you can do but force. And God's not going to force anybody. The number one thing on the radar of all news outlets is rape. And I don't care how long ago it was. I don't care when it happens. Unless you have really gone there with God and said, Lord, you're supposed to be God. You're supposed to love me. Everything's supposed to come your way. Everything's supposed to happen. Only happen to me if you granted. You could have stopped it. Why did you let this happen to me? I mean, I had to go there with God. Lord, how in the world could you allow my mother to grow up in a Seventh-day Adventist home with a stepfather who would penetrate her at 3 years old? Lord, really? And you're God? See, stop playing with God. See, we're playing with God and we're acting like we love God when how can you love him if you don't trust him? See, everything is built on trust. And how can I really look at God, be called to ministry, and trust God when I'm looking at my mother and her fingers are burnt off, and I find out that this man who I called grandfather, her stepfather, who was a Seventh-day Adventist, who everybody esteemed, penetrated her at 3 years old and 4 years old. And when she said, I'm going to tell, burnt her fingers off. Burn them off. And yet my mother would crochet and make the most beautiful things with those hands. She would sew, could make anything, smile, did everything to help people. But when she told me the story, and I went to God with it, like, Lord, what kind of God? And the Lord gave me understanding. But how can I move forward if in the back of my mind I have some questions? I didn't say he gave an answer, but he gave understanding. And in this room, people are violated. Many of us have been violated. Someone told me a story the other day, and I said, wow, really? But when you go to God and experience what it means to be born again, not only are you healed, but the scar, you can't even see it. It's almost as though it didn't happen, because God is a creator, and he creates in you a new experience where you remember the old, but it's for strengthening purpose of somebody else. You know, in Corinthians, when it says God allows you to do it, to go through something so you might strengthen someone weaker when they go through it. I don't understand it all, but I'm telling you, if you're going to know God, you have to be real with God. Be respectful, but real. And then it comes a point where God says there's nothing else I could do. They don't want me. How do you feel when you're not wanted? Or, and sometimes ladies may be able to identify with this a little better. If you only want somebody for something they can give you. Is that how you treat God? Every time you pray, it's God and something else. You don't want God. You want what he can do for you. And you know how, I in my unconverted years, I've had girlfriends say, that's all you want? That's all you want? And God says, let me give it to them anyway. Let me bless the unjust. Let me bless the just. The difference is, as we learned this morning in the 8:30 meeting, the unjust lose both worlds. They don't get this one, nor do they get the one to come. But God still loves them, and he still blesses them, and he does not turn on them because they want to choose to go against him. That's not who he is. He literally gives them their will, and guess what? When we run with the devil, it has its own little course, and it has its end.